Welcome back to another issue of Hobbs Geek News, a podcast where we talk about pop culture, comic books, TV shows, beer, anything under the sun. And today is a special day. We turn 30. It is our 30th issue of Hobbs Geek News, and we're continuing our saga from last week about none other than our favorite Canadian hero, excuse me, Wolverine. So without further ado, I am Mash, one of your two co-hosts. Alongside me is the Hoppy Mommy. And Hoppy, how you doing tonight? I didn't see you on the main show because I had some things to get done. So normally by this point we're face deep in beers and all kind of dead and sloshed about, but tonight we're not. Well, I'm
Well,
not.
I am. You're
You
not.
might be. Oh, I'm still recovering, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh yes, he just got back from a Vegas baby trip. But no, we did beer floats on the main show tonight, and it was absolutely delicious. I still have all my stuff here. If you're watching on the YouTubes, you can see the remnants of my beer and ice cream glass. It was absolutely delicious. But now it's always nice to kind of clean your palate with a double IPA from Playa Linda Brewing called Bring It.
Ooh.
You just need some little metal claws coming out of there, some adamantium or bone claws coming out of
Ching
that fist
ching.
on the label. And of course, I'll post that on the Instagram. It's what skink or whatever it
I
is.
don't know. Skink. Whoa.
Right. That's
Skank.
well, it's like
Ching.
the S. I mean, I guess it's cheek. I don't know, but it's the SNIKT skink.
Whatever
I don't
sound
know.
metal coming through skin sounds like, along with scraping against other metal. That's what
They
it
say
is.
he feels that every time it comes out. It heals quick. So it's like every time he releases his claws, it's literally like his skin's
Oh,
being
you want to know if
torn
I can
open.
feel it, do ya?
Oh, he feels it. He just recovers quickly.
I can feel it, Mr. Krabs. I can feel it.
So, what are you
Yeah.
drinking on this fine evening?
So I just got back from Vegas, which I'm going to kind of go into that trip here in a minute. Shout out some really amazing breweries I went to. However, I feel like absolute dog shit like 4 days later. I think I'm going to die. I think I'm dying. I may, in fact, be dying. My
Well, who
body
isn't? We all
I,
are.
I think I don't know. There's something. Anyways, getting to the point is I'm going on like a full on juice cleanse the next 3 days. So I'm gonna be really cranky and
We
just to
don't
kind
all
of
have regenerative livers. What can we do?
reset my body, maybe so to speak. I was playing basketball yesterday. I'm just like, oh my God, I've never been this slow in my life and everything. It was awful. So that said, I'm drinking a sunset screwdriver from Crystal Coast Brewing. We got to talk to Matt from Crystal Coast. He runs that brewery with his family, and they're out on the Crystal Coast of North Carolina. They have a couple different places, and enjoy the taste of North Carolina sunset, fruity, tart, and full of flavor. It's a Imperial Berliner Weiss
That was
and
fantastic.
brewed with
Sorry.
strawberry, tangerine, and key lime. Oh,
Mm.
it's really good. It's like this is what I needed because I I'm gonna say it for the fifth time. Yeah, I went to Vegas and holy shit. So I landed there last Friday, and right from the get go, we are like, oh yeah, let's go to this brewery. It opened up, and we started drinking at that point. Where I went to Trustworthy Brewing, which is right on the strip. Really great place, amazing place. It's inside the Venetian Mall there, and everyone was super friendly. I don't even remember what I got at this point. I had like 3 or 4 different beers there, which we did drop a beer vacation video on our YouTube, so you can just check out all the beers that I had. And from there, we just,
Yes.
man, I don't even know. We went, I sports betted. I became a professional sports better that night when I bet on the Bruins and won money. And then I bet on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because even though I wanted the Kansas City Chiefs to win, I know that Brady sacrifices children, and that's his key to eternal youth and Super Bowls. So I bet on Tampa Bay, and I won. I also bet on Rob Gronkowski scoring a touchdown, and I won again. I was winning all
What
weekend. It
about
was
the
crazy.
streaker though? Did you bet that there would be a streaker?
No, I
He
didn't
didn't
see
really
that.
streak, a runner. I don't know what you want to call it. You didn't see
Yeah,
it?
like no, I saw it. So I'll get to that. That's a whole other
Oh,
story, whole
I was
Super
like,
Bowl
did you
thing.
watch the
Because I
game?
did. So yeah, I didn't bet on that. We got like a pamphlet at the sports book place, and it gave you like all the things that you could possibly have to bet on the game. And then it even was like, how many hits does Ryan Reeves have compared to catches for Rob Gronkowski? So you could literally bet on everything. It was fucking awesome. And I don't love, I don't gamble to begin with. And I don't go to bars or nightclubs, all that shit. None of that stuff's my scene. However, my heterosexual life mate lives down there in Vegas. So I went to visit him. We Second night, we went to the Arts District in downtown Las Vegas, which was probably the most hipster place on earth, and I fucking loved it. Those were my people. All the fucking casino zombies walking down the strip, all the old ladies, all the people who think they're having a good time, but they're really just sitting at their slot machines, pressing a button and losing money. Hell no, that's not my scene. We did stay at the Flamingo, and I proceeded to make sweet love to In and Out Burger like 8 times that weekend too because it's delicious.
I don't think I've ever even had it.
Oh, it's good. I had the animal
I've been told,
fries
but
with a double or whatever the fuck. I don't know. It was great. I had a milkshake. Half the time I didn't even know I was tasting it and just drank too much. So we went to like that. We started at Hop Nuts, which I had the Green Mamba after my man's Kobe, and then there was Harry Porter. I drank, and
clever.
um, dang, I can't remember the
Kind
next
of.
one. It was a name. It was a play on name. I can't remember what the other one is.
Well, they just got to go to the Hops News YouTube
You're gonna
channel.
have to watch it. Yeah. And then from there we walked down the street and went to three something. It was like a craft cellar, craft bar, which had a brewery called the Mad Fermentus in it. And when I tell you that was
I love
probably
that
like
name.
the best tasting beers that we've had on that whole trip. So we went in there, had a beer at the craft place, walked upstairs to the Mad Fermentus, and I got a flight. And I tell you, like the one beer tasted just like cotton candy, and it was like a milkshake, something called Consonance.
Oh,
It wasn't even like a sour, I don't think. It just tasted like
like a
cotton
milkshake
candy.
IPA.
Yeah, and it was smooth. Man, the colors were so vibrant on each of these beers. It was real small. You can tell you hit up like the beer spot in Vegas because like the old beer people were in there talking about home brewing and they knew they knew the bartender and so you could tell you stumbled into the spot as soon as you know like some
Right.
old white dude's like, "Hey Jeff, how'd you do? Oh, they let you out today?" and all that other dumb shit like, "Here comes trouble." So
Here
you knew you'd
comes
step in
trouble. Yes.
a good spot, like, oh, Janice letting you homebrew still. So that was the spot. And then from there, we went to Craft House, which had a lot of good beers. We had like a Comrade flight. I don't know, it was a little, maybe a little Russian, but a lot of Imperial stouts. And then went to Abel Baker, and that was like the vibe right there. I had nachos, but at that point, I was kind of drunk because I didn't know what I was tasting because I had so many beers. And met up with his sisters there and from there we went to like a nerd place and things of that nature. So that was a lot of fun. And the Super Bowl actually, oh boy. So we went, paid $100 per person, all you can drink, all you can eat at this Brazilian place in the mall and the strip there. And it was great. Like there's TVs everywhere. The vibe was going. You sit down, you walk in like Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, and I was like, you know what? I could fucks with this. I'm going to be drinking for a while. I'll grab a couple Bud Lights. We
And
sit
that's how Matt got kicked off Hops News.
Yes, and well, the first night at the casino, I was over here drinking a Miller Lite while watching the Bruins, so I guess it could be worse.
No, we what is it? I don't like the whole craft beer snob thing. It's obnoxious. You drink what
Look, I was
you
just
want.
trying to drink a
We love
beer,
supporting the small breweries, but yeah.
and when you're at a casino and all they have is Miller Lights that are $12, and then I proceeded to drink 2 extra large martinis at the restaurant in there that were the
Oof,
size of my head, and then
jeez.
went to like a rooftop beer bar and had a Alaskan. I drank an Alaskan. Can't remember. It was an amber ale from Alaskan Brewing
Oh,
Company.
okay,
That's
they
what I
make
had
good
there.
beer.
So I was just right from the get go, I was dying. So my stomach was so messed up because I have stomach problems. And so I'm just like waking up, laying in bed, telling my friends like, why did we do this? I'm 30 fucking years old. I don't need to be
Did you
doing
drink
this.
any water?
Oh no, they were making fun of me. Like his friends and all them were making fun of me because like, man, you're really pounding waters in between beers. And I was like, yeah,
Mm,
of course I am. I'm smart. I got to stay hydrated in some capacity. That way I don't
right.
like throw up or die randomly.
Well, I did terrible when we went to Vermont, maybe a year and a half ago. So my husband surprised me with a trip to Vermont to go to the Alchemist, and my dad's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are really going!" And my husband's like tells me that he's like, "Yeah, you should come with us," because my dad like really loves beer too. So my dad ends up coming with us, and then we went to Hill Farmstead Brewery, we went to
Oh,
Lost Nation Brewery, and then we had a tour booked for the Alchemist the next morning at 11, and then my husband leaves my dad and I at a bar that had Sip of Sunshine, Heady Topper, Focal Banger, all in cans right there. And I mean, oh my God, I was just pounding them. I mean, like, when do you have that opportunity to drink an unlimited
well,
amount of Focal
yeah.
Bangers and Heady Toppers? And let's just say I barely got through the tour at the Alchemist. I couldn't even drink the beer they were handing us. And then on the way back to the hotel, I had made my husband pull over because I threw up, which I don't throw up. And then I went back to the
I
hotel
don't
and took
throw
a
up,
nap
but
while
I
my dad and
throw up.
husband went in. So yeah, I don't ever throw up, and I threw up. And but then I went back, took a nap, and then we went to the Hills Are Alive brewery. What is it? The Hills Are
Oh,
Alive.
yeah, yeah.
Von Trapp.
I know what you I had Von Trapp actually. I was not a fan.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
No, it's not the best, but it's not bad. It's like Bavarian. Well, it's not. It's like German styles, like Bavarian styles,
Yeah.
or whatever. But it was good. I just got a flight because after a nap and everything, and then some hiking. And it was funny. We were hiking, and I put my toes in the ice cold water, and some girl goes, "That'll cure your hangover right up." I'm like, "How'd she know?"
You had that look. You look like
Yes,
you
I
look like in the
just
movie
did.
Bad Moms where they're all hung over with sunglasses
Ugh.
on. That's
Well,
how
this
you
is after
looked.
a nap though, but I mean, but yeah, the next morning, my husband and I woke up, we went for a nice run, saw some deer on the trail, and then went back to the Alchemist. So then
See,
it was, yeah. But
those
then I learned
rivers,
my lesson though, that those rivers are ice
they
cold.
will because I used to go to Vermont every weekend and we would swim in the rivers and at the time everything, it wasn't that bad. The rivers aren't that bad, but
Well, they said it was like melted snow because it's
it
still snowing
is.
up at the top all year.
Yeah, that's all it
But
is.
I learned my lesson though because we were going to San Diego a few months after that, and I brought my hangover pills, and I was like very cautious to like
There
drink
was
my
no
water, and I
looking
was
back.
training for a half marathon then, so I was like, I have to still run, and that trip was fabulous. I learned but yeah, you can't leave my dad and I at a bar alone. Probably
Mm.
shouldn't leave my mom and I at a bar alone either. They've
Well,
been divorced 30 years, and I still just
well, that's like, yeah. So the place I went to, it was Pampas, I think it was called, and they give you this big tray. It's got sliders, mac and cheese bites, fried pickle. It's got everything.
ooh,
And
that
so I was
sounds
starting to
delicious.
eat, and then they started bringing out the beers, and you're kind of drinking the Bud Lights. You're like, yeah, I'm feeling great, man. Well, all the TVs they tried to stream off the CBS app on all their TVs, and it kept going out and fucking up. So a lot of people left. Like half the restaurant dipped out. Then they were like, we got to salvage this. How are we going to salvage this? Because we watched most of the game on our friend's phone. Not that we were
Oh
necessarily
wow,
paying attention because it kind of sucked
it wasn't a
anyways.
great game. It was
It sucked.
terrible.
Don't even get me started on that. But so we were watching on the phone and they started bringing around like vodka and screwdrivers. And then they were
Mm.
bringing around jello shots. So I like jello shot. They're like, take as many as you want. So me, half drunk, was like,
It's like a fraternity party.
I threw them all on the table and started pounding jello shots after a screwdriver, after I've already drank 6 Bud Lights. And then I proceeded,
Oh,
she's walking around with the bucket of Michelobes and Bud Lights. And I was like, just leave the bucket here. So she was like, all right. She was, cool. She dropped the bucket. We took all the beers out of the bucket and stole the bucket. And what we were doing was we were hiding all of our
this
beers in this
podcast is
bucket.
Exhibit A.
We were hiding all the beers in the bucket under the table so that way they would bring us more. So I
Oh my
drank probably
gosh, you're
like
so clever.
12 beers at the restaurant. We snuck the bucket out. I had probably 4 more beers while walking to Trustworthy Brewing that we caught. Like we
How do
went
you
there after the
remember any
game.
of this?
Oh, I remember it all. Like I don't,
Oh my
it was
god.
amazing. So like we walked down to Trustworthy Brewing and I was actually mad because they're handing out like Bloody Mary packs. So like they had this big bottle of vodka and stuff they're handing out.
Ooh.
And they're like,
Oh,
oh, the
that's
way to get
cool.
this is for couples and whatnot. So I was like, but can I
For
just have one?
couples.
Well, it's for like, couple or whatever. So our friend and his girlfriend, they got one. And I was like, I'm taking this. I was like, Josh, here, you take the Bloody Mary mix. But at the same time, it's like I left him in my friend's car because we put everything in the car with some Jello shots, and they also gave us like oversized Raiders tees because it's Las Vegas, so everybody there is like a fat Raiders fan. So it's like a 4X shirt that would have been a perfect moo that I forgot. And yeah, we went to Trustworthy. I drank a few more beers, and then I made some sweet love to some pizza that night, and I think I fell asleep, but I was dying, so I kept waking up, and it was awful. And that was the end of my trip. And I think I was hungover for 2 days straight. No joke. Once you're old, that shit hits totally different. And I never should have drank as much as I
See,
did. No, oh God,
see, I'm older than you, but for me, like I'll be hungover, and then the next day I feel like $1,000,000 because it's like, oh, I'm back at full
no,
strength. But
oh
I
God,
also, you got to eat I get the greasy food, but they also say if you actually eat healthy food, you recover quicker because you're
no.
giving your body what you need.
Oh, I did walk a mile and a half to Dunkin' Donuts while I was there. That was probably the highlight of the trip.
But then you drink Dunkin' Donuts, which is garbage.
And I
Okay, we
drank
are
Dunkin'
way
Donuts.
off
But yeah,
topic.
anyways,
We
I
need
could go on
to
a
get
tangent.
back on track.
I drank a lot. Before we move on to we're not experts, I want to shout out some other podcasts that I've befriended on Twitter. We've become really close with some of the pods out there. We're gonna be doing some really great collabs here soon. Really can't wait. So Quips and Dips. If you haven't listened to her, she's gonna be coming on. She talks Bachelor, she talks life, and really great.
And how she also thinks Wonder Woman sucked.
I
Spoiler
mean, she
alert.
did also think Wonder Woman sucked, and she's gonna be joining us for our penultimate episode where we're gonna talk about everything that's happened in WandaVision right before the finale drops. So that episode is gonna air probably right before the finale of WandaVision. Uh, Soulless Society podcast. I hopped on with him. Really great dude, and that episode's coming out on the 17th. So 2 days from when you're listening to this episode. And then I want to shout out Game for a Movie's another good one. They kind of like talk movies. They have to one of them has to watch like a really bad movie, which is how I watched Avengers Grimm.
Oh,
And yeah, I was I'm gonna watch this. This is my kind of movie, and so they're great. Talk with them. Obviously, Hop Heroes. We're gonna be talking WandaVision recap with those dudes. Dads on
heroes.
Dayquil, just three dads just bullshitting, and they're hilarious. Really great, really great. Scotch and Sports. They're my Canadian best friends now. They're up there in Canada, and one of them is a fellow Packers fan, so we really bonded over our mutual pain of the Packers loss. And so those are some great podcasts. Go ahead, give them a listen, check them out. Really great stuff. And with that said, we're not experts.
No, no, we're not. So last week, I was drinking a delicious collab from Edmonds Oast and J. Wakefield Brewing. I did post that on our Instagram. And the label said it was a New England IPA with dragon fruit, passion fruit, and lactose. Well, I tasted it and was like, this tastes like a sour IPA. Well, my dumbass the next day went to check it in on Untapped, and it is a sour IPA. Who knew?
Ooh.
I'm going to start researching these beers before we go on. So I have, I got to put the hops in the Hops Geek News. I
Of
say that and I'm like,
course.
shit, I didn't look up this beer that I am drinking from Flyland Brewing before we came on. But it tastes like a double IPA and it says it's a double IPA.
So
Another
they
thing,
say.
we were talking about Wesley Snipes because he's in the Coming to America movie, and I said I was
Yes,
getting
he
some
is.
Demolition Man feels, murder, death, kill. We couldn't think of his name. It was Simon Phoenix. So if you were screaming at your car radio or at your
Simon
phone
Phoenix.
or at your computer saying Simon Phoenix, you ignorant
How dare
sluts,
you? His name is
you uncultured
Simon.
swines. It was Simon Phoenix. If you catch a mess up, let us know, and we will toast you and correct ourselves, and then take a sip of our beer. Okay.
Hurrah.
What have you watched or read this week while you were getting trashed in
What are we
Vegas or
watching?
on the
I
plane?
watched a lot of poor decisions, a lot of me swiping my
So you're
card.
about to say porn.
Oh, no, 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 no. Although
Never.
on the
He's a
strip, like
married
there are a
man.
lot of failed porn stars that are walking around as in their showgirls. I just imagine everybody in Vegas is a failed porn star. Nobody was flapping those cards
LA's
at me with
failed
like the
actress.
prostitutes on it. I was really disappointed.
Well,
Get
there's
the cool Vegas.
pandemic going on.
Yeah, but whatever. Uh,
Double
aside
protection.
from watching my fat self smash In and Out Burger every day, I am reading
You watch yourself.
Ice Cream Man. Oh no, you can't see it on the YouTube. I'm sorry. Ice Cream Man, which if you don't know what that is, basically it's a series of unfortunate events that unfolds. I know I told this last episode, but it follows an ice cream man who's evil, of course. And every time you
Well, aren't
interact with
they
him,
all?
he gives you a treat, but there's always a trick. And so bad things happen to people after they interact with this ice cream man. It is fucking phenomenal. If nobody's going to write the HBO Max series on Ice Cream Man, I'm going to start writing it now. And it's amazing. It's written and art done. We have Maxwell Prince, Martin Morazzo, Chris O'Halloran, excuse me, and it's from Image Comics. Again, it is really freaking good. And other than that, I WandaVision, of course, and
Just
that's it.
phenomenal.
I've been watching Happy Endings still. That's kind of like the feel good show to just throw on. And so
Yeah.
I did
No, it's a good one.
I did watch Midsummer today. That movie
Oh,
fucked me
that's the
up.
one that you said. What? I don't understand what that is. I've never even heard of
All
it. How
right.
old is this
So
movie?
it's from 2019. Essentially, this girl's sister kills herself and her parents. And then she's like, oh, fuck, no, no, no. Her boyfriend's a deadbeat, essentially, who's planning to go to Sweden. They're all going to do their dissertation. They're getting ready to graduate, whatever college, things of that nature. They have a Swedish friend who's like, come back to my village in Sweden. And so they were all going to go. She finds out about it, but he was supposed to break up with her, just didn't. So she finds out about it at a party. He courtesy invites her, like, oh, she's not going to go. She does go, of course. And first of all, like white people, what is wrong with us that we see a bunch of people in these gowns. Clearly, they're a religious cult, so it's about a religious cult, and people get murdered, and it's pretty fucked up. And it's just I don't know. It left me with a weird feeling afterwards. Not because it was anything of shock, horror, things I've never seen before, but just something about it. I was like, damn, maybe I'm just still hungover from Vegas and I just need sleep.
I
But
think Vegas hit you hard.
yeah, it's a
Like
pretty fucked
Friends.
up
This is
movie.
the
I
worst hangover
I
ever.
don't recommend it, but I almost recommend watching it one time because I'm probably never gonna
I
go
thought you
back.
were talking about Vegas for a second. I
Oh
don't
no,
recommend it.
I can't wait to go back to Vegas, of course.
Oh,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I've only been
Midsummer.
once and I didn't like it. But I went with kids
Hmm.
and we weren't supposed to go.
Why would
We
anybody
ended
bring
up
their kids to Vegas? I saw a
well,
bunch
we
of
were
people with
doing
like
our cross
strollers and
country
shit.
road trip and we were supposed to go to Joshua Tree on the way heading back from California, heading home. And my brother in law was like, "Oh, we should go to Vegas. I'll meet you there." And
Whack.
I didn't do research, so I didn't have any kid friendly breweries planned or anything like that. And like we ended up going to Red Rock Canyon, which the baby was like 6 months old. So I was basically left on a rock by myself, like trying to change this kid because he shit 3 times while they were all hiking. And I'm changing him on a rock that's at an angle. It was a lot of fun. And
Sounds almost as bad as my Vegas adventure.
everything smelled like cigarettes. My
Oh,
daughter was
people were
15 at the time and she learned what marijuana smells like because she's like, "What's that smell?" I'm like, "It's marijuana because it's legal there." Like, "You're in high school,
yes,
you should know
people
this
were like
anyways."
openly walking around smoking blunts, and I was like, great, I'm gonna go back and get drug tested at work, and I'm fucked. But
Well, see, I have
I
no
was
problem with that.
oh,
I think
I
I
don't
actually like
either.
this smell, but I don't like cigarettes. We
Oh,
left. What
I
was
don't
it?
like
The
cigarettes either.
what's the old strip
I don't
called?
know. I
It's
don't
like they did like that laser light show or something. It's like a old school strip. Well, this will be on our We Fucked Up next week.
Yeah, I'll find
So we
out because
went
I'll just ask my
there
friend.
and it just reeked of cigarettes. It was so gross. And people are
My
like zip
hotel
lining
smelled like
through it.
cigarettes.
Oh, it's gross. And we stayed at like the circus place. And it's like, my kids don't give a shit about going on those rides. They've freaking annual passes to Disney and can go to Universal and SeaWorld whenever they want. They don't care about
Whoa,
those rides.
hear that,
Uh,
guys? They got annual passes to Disney. Vegas
oh,
ain't shit.
and then we took them to see the Mirage, the
Yeah, yeah,
fountains.
yeah.
Well, we had just come from Disneyland, and if you see the show on the water at California Adventure Park, it puts the freaking Mirage to shame. So I can't even take my kids to a fireworks show; they're totally
Oh
unimpressed
my
unless it's Disney.
god. This is this is privilege at its finest.
Hey, it's almost been a
Oh
year since my
my
3-year-old's been to Disney
god.
because of the pandemic. Okay, so what have I watched or read, you asked? Well, let me tell you. I'm still on my rewatching Supernatural binge, and I will just quickly say some of the episodes I watched this week where there was a brewery episode where the ghost could only be seen by drunk people. I actually looked up this brewery. It's in Canada and they're out of business, but I guess another brewery might have taken over. Oh.
I don't know.
And there is a Looney Tunes episode where they actually end by saying, "That's all, folks." There's anvils, there's hearts pumping out of chests. And there's an angel that refers to when they say, "Oh, so we're looking for Bugs Bunny." The angel goes, "So we're looking for an insect rabbit hybrid."
What?
And Sam kills a bad guy with the Mjolnir. So, yeah. Okay. I also read some Marvel verse WandaVision. So this is actually a series called Marvel Verse, and it's
Oh,
basically
I
like a
like that.
recap. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll post on the Instagram for anybody not watching on YouTube. So basically, I mean, I think everybody's kind of seen these books. They have them at, like Barnes and Noble. I got this one at my local comic book shop, and it's just a few like key comic books that they throw in. Like there's one for Wolverine and Deadpool in the back, and there's one for Captain America and Black Panther and Venom. And it's
Mhm.
great if you're kind of like me, where you didn't read comics until you were older and you kind of want to know some of the backstories for these characters that you're now seeing in the movies and the TV shows. So I got the Wanda and Vision one. There were 4 comics in here. The first one's like Vision's
Everybody go
origin.
ahead for like Mother's Day or whatever. Get your moms, get somebody these. Grandma Suzanne's gonna need help figuring out what is happening in the
Yeah,
Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we got just a gift. You heard it
I like
here
it.
on Hops Geek News.
Actually, for Mother's Day one year, right before Captain America came out, that's what I got for Mother's Day was the Captain America one. So it
Well,
is a great Mother's Day gift. But yeah, they had the Vision origin, which Pym made Ultron and Ultron made Vision.
yes, yes, and
There's
then
a
Ultron kills all the Avengers, and then the kid Avengers have to go and kill him.
oh, see, it didn't go into that.
Fuck!
I just saw
Spoiler!
one.
God, my bad.
Ah, but there was stuff that was like relevant to what's going on now in WandaVision. And then there was Giant Sized Avengers #4. Dormammu's in that from Doctor Strange.
Has he come to
Um,
bargain?
He did not come to bargain. They threatened. But there's also mention of Kang the Conqueror, which he's going to be the villain in the next Ant-Man movie. Agatha Harkness does make an appearance. And, if anybody doesn't, she's the quirky next door neighbor. I know they refer to her as Agatha, but if you're like me and you're not a good name person, then you might have forgot. Very interesting comic, and it ends in a double wedding, one of them being Wanda and Vision. Oh, and Mantis is in that. It's like the origin story of Mantis from Guardians. But she's like
Ooh.
human, but then there's a whole bunch of stuff. And then there's two issues from Marvel Team Up where we actually see Spider Man. One involves android versions of
Yeah.
historical characters like Mark Twain and Confucius. Um, and they go up an unexpected villain or go up against an unexpected villain. And then while Vision is with Spidey, like Wanda gets fucked with by Necrodamus, which is actually one of the villains that people think is controlling her in WandaVision. We still don't know. A lot of people are saying, what's the one guy a lot of people are saying? The devil?
Oh, Mephisto. Yes.
Mephisto.
Yes.
So Necrodamus is another theory. So we'll see after these next few episodes, and I'll do more research before we throw out our legit theories. But yeah, so that was interesting. They do end up stopping him. Ha ha ha. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And there was actually, to tie it back to Supernatural again, I've started doing this. I almost feel like to fuck with Matt, but it's also fun. Um, I don't know if those two are connected, but Daniel Webster is a famous lawyer that was born in the late 1700s. And when I was watching Supernatural today on the treadmill, he was actually mentioned in that episode because the King of Hell uses this name as his storage locker name. Like he has a storage locker and he uses the fake name Daniel Webster because somebody made a fake story that they sold their soul to the devil, and then Daniel Webster was their attorney. And then when I was reading the WandaVision, Vision flies over Concord, New Hampshire, and says, Daniel Webster was born here. How interesting. I was like, what the hell? So I thought
Well,
that was funny. And that's what I read or watched this week.
that's a lot happening. There's a
It
lot
is a
going
lot
on there.
happening. I just want everybody to watch Supernatural. That's all.
Supernatural. It is a cult thing.
It
I was
is.
getting caught up real quick because uh, I gotta admit something. I'm gonna be cheating on our podcast with a couple of the dudes, Jordan and Zach, and a man named Nate, whom I have not actually officially met yet. We're gonna basically be doing like an improv, ridiculous 50 style comedy type podcast. It's gonna record every other week, and so I was just not. I got like all these notifications at once, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
A group
And so I
chat.
was like trying to catch up with it, and this is all from like hours ago, and I didn't get the notifications, so I feel like a jackass. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I believe,
Little promo.
yeah, a little short promo. I don't know what the name is yet, but it's coming at you soon. Just like some hard hitting news that we got right here. Hit the news. We have Sonic 2. It's been officially announced. Everybody's
Ding,
favorite
ding, ding,
hedgehog
ding.
is coming back 2022 in theaters, probably featuring Jim Carrey again, which he did a really great Dr. Robotnik. And the movie was, I liked the movie a lot. Took my son. I didn't
I
take him.
still need to see it.
We saw it in theaters and we've watched it a bunch of times since then. So I think April 8th, 2022 is the date it's going to be releasing.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Supposedly.
So, I mean, you never know nowadays. I wouldn't write anything down on your calendar because,
No, I think they're
one
part of
person gets
like
COVID on
Universal
his
or
set, but
Warner. And oh well, yeah. I was gonna say I think that even they probably released the streaming regardless. But also,
you never know
joke.
if they have to stop production.
Yeah, I mean anything could happen. Just like Spider Man's
I don't
allegedly
trust
supposed to
anything
come
now.
out.
Yeah.
So Joker has a new look in the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and he's in like a medical gown. The damage is gone. He's no longer damaged. The world is saved. Batman has cured his damage. And so that actually I like that Joker look. I could really it gives me a lot of like death in the family kind of vibes, and I fuck with that hardcore, which is a comic storyline I where Joker cuts his face off, staples it back to his face. It was crazy.
Oh, they did it in Gotham.
Yeah.
Was it Cameron Monaghan when he played him? He did that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what that looks like, and I like the look a lot. Also, going with Zack Snyder's Justice League, Steppenwolf. They show a scene of Steppenwolf destroying Amazons in a clip where like he cuts one in half and it's gonna be pretty bloody. I'm again, I'm really excited for this movie. March 18th cannot come here soon enough. And then right after that's King Kong, so I'm excited for that one too. And then last but not least, Jimmy Woo, our favorite FBI magician from a
I
little
was
known
gonna
show,
say magician.
WandaVision. There's been a pitch for his TV show to Disney, which I would actually, it fits like kind of like X Files, where he's investigating weird shit. That would be amazing. I would
It
love
all
it.
ends up being like Marvel stuff.
Just
Yeah.
give like him and Darcy their own TV show where they go around investigating cool stuff, and I will be on board.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Did you see I'm a big sucker for memes, but they had the one,
Who isn't?
everybody wants John Krasinski to be Mr. Fantastic, and everybody's made comments, oh, was that a Mr. Fantastic reference in the most recent WandaVision episode? And somebody's like, how can you, say you want John Krasinski? He's already in WandaVision. And Matt's not going to get
Oh,
this because you haven't seen that, but they play a joke on Dwight one day
yes, it
and
is.
they
He's
have,
in the office. I see it. There was like
oh,
a
okay.
picture with him and the kids, Pam. Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they did a joke on Dwight
I
where
am
they
too
pretended
tall.
like
Nothing
he
goes
was
over my
Jim.
head.
Okay, good. I'm glad. But it was funny because in the show, the character's like, "Wow, Dwight, that's really admirable that you don't see race. You didn't even realize I was Asian this whole time because it was a completely different person."
Yes, I definitely did see that, and so I hope. Well, John Krasinski, he that makes me think. We're gonna talk WandaVision later. We'll talk WandaVision. Are we gonna do WandaVision at the end of the episode?
I don't think we have time.
I don't know if we will. So just know we're gearing up for a little WandaVision. We know all
Yeah, we'll
about
get
it,
all of it out
extra,
later.
extra, and that's all my news. What do you have for news?
My news. So Falcon and Winter Soldier, they did have a new trailer. They didn't show the whole thing during the Super Bowl. So if you go to the Marvel website or YouTube, you can see it. The main thing I took from it that we hadn't seen before, at least I don't think we had, was Sharon Carter, Agent 13, which we first met her in Winter Soldier. Yeah, Winter Soldier. She was his neighbor, and she ended up kissing against Peggy Carter's niece,
Ooh.
which is a little awkward now. Well, it was then too. Okay, Ant-Man and Wasp has a name. The next Ant-Man and Wasp coming out in 2022. It is Quantum Mania, which I find a little hilarious because they said quantum, like it was like a joke. Like if you watch Ant-Man and Wasp, if you every time they say quantum, take a sip and you'll be trashed. Okay.
That's true. That is also that. Yeah, that's every other word. We're gonna die. No,
Yeah,
I don't want to die.
exactly.
Hold on. I didn't
It'll be
agree to
Jello
this.
shot for every time they say
It's like a
quantum.
jello shot every time you say quantum. Ah, I'm now dumb.
So there's
Brainwashed.
talks of Jeffrey Dean Morgan joining the boys. If you don't know who he is Negan from The Walking Dead or John Winchester, Sam and Dean's dad. He's also the random dad who died in Weeds. So he was supposed to, it seemed like it was actually happening that he was joining the boys, and now he may or may not because of COVID, because he's still on The Walking Dead. I guess quarantining gets difficult. I've said before, we only like to, give you the actual news, but so many people release potential news, so we don't want to get left in the dust.
Extra, extra. Read all
So,
about it.
but we're going to be
Oh,
honest. We're
I
not
did
going to
have
try to
some fuck
make it seem like
ups.
it's not.
I just realized I did have some fuck ups I should have included.
All right, I got one more piece of news, and then you can unleash your fuck ups. Oh, and I just Googled it. The place I was talking about in Vegas is Fremont Street.
Oh,
Old school
I don't know if
Vegas,
I know what
lots of
that is.
cigarette smoke. So I don't have to add it to next week's. I fucked up. Okay, so Disneyland is planning their food and wine festival. This is California Disney. They have been closed since March 2020, so this is actually a pretty big deal. The one in Orlando by me has been open since July. And if Disney was running the world, the COVID would already be over. The festival, which
Probably.
they're calling an experience, not a festival, is opening in mid March with limited capacity. But the good news is a lot of cast members are finally getting to go back to work. So that's been a big thing in California in general. When they announced this piece of news, though, they also mentioned that Avengers Campus has been making incredible progress. So they've still been working on that despite being unable to open to the public. And that is my news. So what did you fuck up last week?
Yes. So I needed to apologize to the 5 people who actually listened to this. My audio,
My mom and
our
dad are two of
audio,
them.
actually kind of messed up. So for some reason, some of the sound bites they played over us talking a couple times, and there was a couple other audio mistakes in there, which I had caught everything when I was editing, and but for some reason, when everything processed and went up, and I listened to it, I was like, "Oh, great! No, first they reverted to how it was." So I
It sounded
apologize.
good though, and we're adding the sound bites now, and that'll be more fun. I think I even
We're
put
just trying to
a
get weird with it.
We got to do the Drax one for the I'm messed up. I sent you the
Yeah.
clip. It's like, you must be so embarrassed.
We're so embarrassed. So embarrassed. Yeah, so that was it. That
And
was my only fuck up.
yeah, I think we are done now. We just
We
need
are.
to
So
go
we
back
are
to our
diving into.
drunken Wolverine part 2.
Yes, so if we sound a little more drunk, it's because we pre-recorded this part already, and enjoy. This is the second part of, I don't know, what are we doing? 3 parts? Is it 3 parts?
It should be 3 parts, but I thought it was going to be 1 part, so we'll see what
There's so
happens.
much Wolverine, so it's probably gonna be 3 parts. And yeah, cheers everybody, and enjoy a few messages from our sponsor. Just kidding. There's no sponsor. It's just going into Wolverine.
I thought maybe there was. But we're moving on up.
All right, cool. I think that should be it. So we might have to move our. I'm gonna stop this. We don't. Do we need to record like this? I don't think so. If I do, we can. All right. As I
All
mentioned,
right.
we are here. We are talking Wolverine Part 2. The fun we had, so much fun the first time. We're back talking a Part 2. Otherwise, we probably would have gone on for hours last episode. So this time we're talking Weapon X, and Hoppy still can't pour a beer, but that's okay. She's learning.
Shut your mouth when you talk to me. I can pour a beer. It's the
Shut
beer's
your
fault.
mouth, SA. Where did
I'm the
we
best
leave
at what I
off?
do.
We're
But what I
talking
do
Weapon
best
X.
is not pouring a beer.
We're talking Weapon X. So Micah, you're like the resident
Yo.
expert. This is your wheelhouse, man. Like, we're talking Weapon X. What's up? Enlighten us.
Oh man, we're going to do Weapon X. So I think like at the end of the last, we were talking about his adamantium and getting his adamantium back. How he got it back from Saber. He took Sabretooth's adamantium. Apocalypse gave it back to him, but we didn't talk about how he got his adamantium in the damn first place. So,
Oh,
Weapon
that's true.
X.
We did jump around.
So,
around, jump.
everybody
Jump
jump.
around. Sorry. I'm
Get
surprised
up
Matt
your
knew
seat,
that. He's
jump
so
around.
young.
Oh my god,
Okay.
so young.
Hey, Matt, what do you know? What
just
kind of
precious.
jersey he had on in the video? Do you know?
I don't remember the video, to be honest.
He had a Larry Bird jersey on.
It was Larry
That's
Bird.
because by the
you
time
fucking
Matt was
uncultured
born, they
swines.
didn't have music videos anymore.
What? Are you kidding
Oh,
me?
shit.
I grew up watching Fuse, especially Warped Wednesday. And I
Fuse.
also used to watch it's TL. Oh God, what was that?
TRL?
TRL
Total
with
Request
Carson
Live?
Daly, and it was always the Backstreet
You
Boys
had
or
TRL.
NSYNC or whomever. So don't give me that bullshit. I grew up watching.
No.
No,
Corn.
I'm like 4 years younger than you guys.
Corn was in there, like number 3 every single time behind the Backstreet Boys.
It was
and
always like a
NSYNC. It was
rock
Korn.
music video, and then it led into like Britney Spears. Like,
I
what
like
was-
Korn and Britney Spears.
I'm a star,
I saw both of them.
but she loves with a broken heart, singing.
And then you have
She's so
all
lucky.
day I
She's a star.
dream about. Okay, so Weapon X.
Yeah. Anyways, Wolverine, Weapon X. Yes. What's up, boo?
All right, so Micah, you were talking
You were saying.
while Matt was singing.
So Marvel Comics Presents put out a round of comics. I can't remember if it was the 80s or early 90s, and they were the Weapon X. And they kind of went through what Wolverine went through when he went through the Weapon X project, which was a long, detailed ordeal, which took a chunk of his life there. I think in the 80s. No, I can't remember. Fuck it. But anyway, basically, everybody was always, like when they read the comics, it was always like Wolverine was abducted from a bar, which I do believe was somewhat true. I don't really remember.
Yes, he was drunk.
And there's not a.
Yeah,
There we go. He
Oh,
was drunk
where do I have it? He was drunk. He was
on
leaving
Canadian
a bar,
lager.
and he was jumped by Canadian Secret Department K. That's what happened. So they got the advantage on him. This is why you don't drink, kids, because he was having issues.
You
You know how well.
booze.
One of the main characteristics of Wolverine, and you see this in the movies, is like he tries to pretend like he doesn't care, but he cares more than the average person. And he does go into that animalistic state where he has the berserker rage. And once he gets to berserker rage, like, you better stand back, motherfucker, because he's coming for you. If you're in his like red zone, like his
Hide your
berserker rage is
kids,
gonna kill you.
hide your wives.
Right.
Wolverine's
Hide your
killing everybody.
yeah, hide everything. But he genuinely does care, but he doesn't want anybody to know he cares. So he accidentally killed somebody on a mission, or I don't even think he killed them. I think he just got them hurt on a mission where he was working for the Canadian government, and he was at a bar and he was in like a state of basically depression. And Wolverine, throughout all of the comics, his brain is not the best. He remembers things that didn't happen and he forgets things that did happen, and it's all mixed up and everything. And it's not just the adamantium bullet and all that crap. Like, he has a hard time even to this day in the comics today. He still has those issues. So he was drinking because he felt bad. He was just like, his emotions were weighing down on him, and this secret department K took advantage and they jumped his ass, leaving a brewery. And yes, he was probably drinking a Canadian lager because he doesn't like the local craft beer in New York, as evidenced in Old Man Logan.
So yeah, like, this was a great series, Marvel Comics Presents, where they talked about what he went through. Now how he got there, Hoppy just totally, put that there.
Guys,
I forgot.
real quick, David Pasternak,
But,
greatest
yeah.
Boston Bruins player ever to don the fucking sweater. That's all. That's
Okay,
all.
moving along. Moving right
That's
along.
all.
Wolverine would kill him in like 20 seconds. Anyway,
Don't care.
So
Hat trick.
But if he didn't deserve to die, he'd feel bad about it.
So Logan went through like a lot of brainwashing, and it was really bad. It's like they put like this cool metal helmet on him, which they did do in an X-Men Apocalypse. Like, the coolest thing about X-Men Apocalypse is when they find Wolverine, because he looks like he did the comic books.
He really does. And then
it.
you have like Sansa Stark tries to like fix his memories.
Which but he's still like, at least we got him getting out of like the Weapon X project and like killing everybody, even though he was in like a metal can, like going rah, 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 rah.
Because you didn't get that in X2, which is what Weapon X was in that timeline. Because people like that whole movie timeline, I know we've even talked about this before. There's two different timelines that are the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And so one is X2 with Stryker, and the other one is when Sansa Stark sees him, and he's actually straight out of the comic books.
Yeah. So
because she's not Phoenix, she's Sansa Stark.
Before I get into this, like, the people that are listening here have watched the movies, so they've seen Wolverine Origins, they've seen X2, they've seen Days of Future Past. I just want to say that Fox did an absolutely poor job of doing Wolverine's origin. They could have done it a 100% a lot better. Now in X2, now I'm excluding X2. X-Men 1 and X-Men 2 are really good movies. Kevin Feige had something to do with that. But in X2, the way that they kept the mystery going through the movie, because, he had flashbacks during the movie, and they wanted you to have that because they wanted to set up a Wolverine solo movie. But like, it was really good. Like, you saw the scene of him. I think it may have been in X-Men 1 where he was having the dreams. That's when he stabbed Rogue, where he was having the dreams of him coming out of the X-Men facility and his claws were out. And he was screaming or whatever.
Right.
And he ran off.
He looked confused. Yeah. I don't remember if that was 1 or 2, honestly.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But they did a really good job, and they showed that adamantium was in liquid form, which is comic books. Once it hardens, you cannot break it whatsoever. So
or can you?
As
womp womp.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or can you? That is a good question. I know a lot of people are always like, what if can Mjolnir break Wolverine's claws? Absolutely not. That's happened before.
What about Cap's shield? What about Beskar steel? What about a lightsaber?
Now you're talking Star Wars. It's a whole different story.
Well, I talked Cap shield. What about vibranium?
I don't know.
Vibranium's different.
Wait, hold on.
Oh
Didn't-
my
The
gosh.
vibranium
Oh.
absorbs shock.
Didn't Mark Hamill
This
and
is a depth.
Chris Evans have this where like they already
They went
decided
off
that?
on it. Yeah,
On
yeah.
Twitter? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Come again.
Well, yeah, they did. Okay, but that's that. We could do a whole episode on that, on all those. So let's just move along.
It's a whole.
Adamantium, you can't. But they did break it in. Not just Magneto sucking it off of him, but in the Wolverine, the one dude broke it. And remember, he had the bone claws on one hand and not on the other. And in the recent comic book, then when they cut off his arm or his hand, like there's there's adamantium all over his bones. So obviously it is breakable.
No.
But that's, I mean, whatever.
It is able to break. Yeah. Yeah. It depends on the writer. It's like if he wants the adamantium to be broken, he's going to break the adamantium. And then some writers are going to be like, okay, the adamantium can't be broken. Like it's the strongest substance whatsoever. But yeah, like, so Wolverine goes through the process. He was brainwashed like crazy. Like that comic book is really good. Like they show what he went through. Like they program his mind with all kinds of crazy ass memories. He goes through the bonding process. And of course, at the very end of the series, you have him, like breaking out of the Weapon X program.
Right. Well, I do want to make a quick comment though. In the movie, which I think most people who are listening or watching, he volunteers for it because he wants revenge on Silver Fox, and then he loses his memory with the adamantium bullet. If anybody's watching on YouTube, Matt's losing his mind, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with a hockey game or something like that. So just ignore him and Cerebro over there. But in the comics, he did not volunteer for it. So I just wanted to make that difference, because that was something when I went and read the comics after seeing the movies, I did not expect that he was did not volunteer, whereas in the comics or in the movies he did volunteer. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. He did not volunteer in the comic books. It was something done to him, and it was kind of like a subconscious thought that he had, like when you were reading, like in the 80s, like when you were reading the X-Men, he was always like, this was done to me. This was always done to me. And like X-Men animated series, like brought that life too a lot. Like this was done to me. Like, and he always thought the claws were done to him, but he always had the claws. They were just coded.
Right.
Which, like the movies, I'm not going to say much anymore about it, because I really was. I went and saw the movies because I loved the idea of Wolverine on the big screen. I loved Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's time for him to go, but
Oh, don't say that.
Why would you say that?
But Marvel is getting ready to bring him in, and it's going to be amazing. And we're going to get a Wolverine that we haven't seen.
Who plays
I'm not
Wolverine,
mentally prepared for that conversation. That's going to be at the end of this podcast.
We're talking about it now.
I'll be
Who
no
plays Wolverine?
So
Hugh Jackman.
That's it.
No, he
but
doesn't.
Days of Future Past, that movie is amazing. Like
my favorite.
He
X-Men
is so
movie.
awesome in that movie. Oh God, I can watch that movie all the time. Like
that is a good movie.
He's so awesome because he's like the older Wolverine getting projected to the younger Wolverine, and it's like the younger Wolverine. Yeah.
Oh, and he has the bone claws. And at this point, once this is released, this is going to be released a week and a half from now from when we're discussing it. So Pietro will have already appeared in WandaVision. Spoiler,
Excuse you, but that's a
right.
spoiler.
So he was, but it's not a spoiler at this point once this is released. So he was in Days of Future Past. So what is that going to mean for like the whole connecting of the universes? Like what is happening? But okay, I'm just going to stop on that tangent right there.
Well, it's
Micah,
the
did you see
multiverse.
that?
Like Marvel.
Yeah.
It's the multiverse. Marvel they're like, okay, we've got Fox now, and like Fox made a lot of bad shit. They also made some cool shit, and like Quicksilver was cool as shit.
Cool shit.
Days of Future Past, Quicksilver was awesome. Like I love that whole scene of him in the kitchen. Like, oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
It was like Maggie, it was like, what's going on? He's like, just hold on, let me hold your neck, and then he had the duct tape. I mean,
right.
I loved it. And it's not Quicksilver from the comic books. That Quicksilver was totally made for the movie. He's not like that. He's an arrogant SOB in the comic books who just wants to bang Crystal from the
Well, like
it's just
and
like
that's the one from MCU is very arrogant.
Yeah.
And yet they're both from Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
I think that's entertaining.
but yeah, multiverse. So like they could pull these guys. They could bring Hugh Jackman back, and he could be a version of Wolverine. They could bring Old Man Logan. They could put Old Man Logan in the
That's what I want.
MCU, and it can be Hugh Jackman.
That's what I want. I want
I
Old
would-
Man
I will-
Logan to think he's dead and wake up in the past when it's not him. That's what I want. But yeah, we're jumping ahead. Okay.
Pew, pew.
So
Yeah, but that's yeah.
his captors with Weapon X were shocked he survived. And I do want to say the actual ultimate bad guy here too was Romulus. He was the one that was behind all of this in the end. But quick side note, X actually stands for 10. So this is Weapon 10.
No
And for those who don't know-
way.
What these are called Roman numerals. If you watch the Super Bowl, you
What?
have an idea of Roman numerals. But why I am saying that is because Weapon 1 is Captain America. And that is why I'm drinking out of my I can do this all day glass. And I did actually open an Age Right Theory beer. This is the second part of our Wolverine section. The first part, Matt and Michael
You
were both
decided
drinking
not
Age
to join
Right.
us in drinking Age Right Theory. It's cool.
I already had one on board. or
You're
on
just
deck.
fucking wrong in everything you do. That's fine. You don't love us. And wait,
I don't make
they
the best
don't
choices.
love you like I love you. What was that song?
Anyways, so yes, Captain America is Weapon 1. And then obviously shit hit the fan. They tried to recreate stuff. Da 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 da. You
Okay,
know,
but
whatever.
what weapon?
Deadpool was another weapon, but
What
not like in the
was?
movie. So actually, quick note on House of M, because everybody's talking about that now with Scarlet Witch. House of M, which I tried to get today at the comic book shop, and they are gone, and they cannot even order it apparently. But that is actually when Wolverine got his memories back. It was not in X-Men 2. It was during the House of M, which came out
Oh,
around
yeah.
X-Men 2. Scarlet Witch gave him his memories back.
So do you guys want to like jump from that? Because that can like honestly, if we jump from right there, like where he got his memories back, it will kind of tie in Weapon X and everything. Like people,
Do it. I'm done with my Weapon X now, so go for it.
yeah,
Dude,
like
I'm just along for the
I'll be-
ride.
I'll be honest
Do
with
it.
Yelling stupid shit. So
Weapon X,
Bub.
Weapon X Lazarus Project,
I
like
have those.
what he did with Team X, with Sabretooth, Silver Fox, and Maverick, like, and then Omega Red coming later on in the X-Men, which I'll talk about that before I get into this. You know, it's a lot of stuff that, you know, once you get to House of M, you're like, holy shit. So
Right.
anyway,
So I need to read all the Lazarus Pit before I read. Well, not
Mm.
Lazarus Pit. That's DC Lazarus Project.
Lazarus Project, it's drawn out. Like there's
'Cause
some
I have
cool
a bunch
stuff,
of
but
them.
it's really drawn out.
Okay.
It's a lot of filler. I have a ton of those too, but
I just
so
love that these are like super old.
yeah, the artwork is amazing.
my
I love the
Mhm.
artwork.
You're super old, so
Right. And if
So-
you're listening and you didn't catch the last one, I have a bunch from the 80s that were my brother-in-law's, probably from the 90s as well. So they're all in bags and boards. So they're all in good condition and they all got prices on them and stuff. So it's fun. All right, go ahead.
So this, you see my shirt here, X-Men. This was the highest selling comic book in history, Volume 2, Issue 1. Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. Jim Lee is ultimate badass. He drew some amazing X-Men. He drew some amazing Batman, amazing Flash, and Green Lantern too. But I will say this was the comic book run that I fell in love with as a kid. And issue 4 is when they met Omega Red and you started to flesh out some of Wolverine. And I loved it because Omega Red's like ripping Wolverine to shreds, and he's had on the brown costume all this time, and he's got the gold costume on in this episode, in this issue. So, but they dive back into Weapon X, and then you start to see what's going on here, and that the Russian government tried to do somewhat of the same thing with Omega Red. So Omega Red they tried to create Omega Red to be Captain America. Like he was supposed to be like a Captain America for the Russians. So he has these tentacles that have carbonadium on them. So carbonadium is another metal. I don't want to dive into
Matt,
it.
is Omega Red in the comics I sent you yet?
yeah, he's
Okay.
like playing the I'm just doing nothing. I'm not that bad of a guy.
Right. I'm your friend. Okay.
I'm
I wasn't
here
sure
on
if he
Krakoa.
was, yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
he is.
I'm not too up to date with what he did in Krakoa. I just know
No,
it's
Matt's
bad.
reading. I think I sent him 1, 2, and 3
I
of
have
the
the first
Wolverine
3
series that ties
issues.
into X of Swords. So you've probably read them if you've read the X of
Yes.
Swords Wolverine ones.
I've read the first 3 issues of Wolverine, and other than that, I've read X of Swords, but I don't think I caught Omega Red. Maybe he just wasn't that big of a deal. So,
Oh, I don't know.
Wrong. I don't know.
I'll go back and read it.
Okay.
I got kids, like,
Me too.
But
Damn those kids.
Hey, I
X-Men.
win this. I have the most and the longest.
Well, guess what? That's
X-Men,
your
yes.
mistake.
Number
Only
4,
one was.
Omega Red shows up.
The
So you dive in
accident.
and you find out about the X-Men, the Weapon X program a little bit more, and Omega Red's carbonadium. He can slow healing factors with his tentacles,
Ooh.
and this and that. So let's jump forward now, because there's a lot of shit that happens that we talked about in the last episode about him losing his adamantium, about Genesis, and about Apocalypse bonding the adamantium back to him. And there's a lot of shit that goes on during that time period, plus Grant Morrison's run. But I feel like it's really cool just to jump into Daniel Way and look at Wolverine Origins right now. So House of M, Wanda Maximoff manipulates reality and creates a paradise for.
What? Is it like a 60s sitcom?
No, it's absolutely not. It's like a weird, like Game of Thrones horseshit thing.
Oh,
So
fuck. Someone gets their head smashed in.
God, everything I hear, I just want to read this fucking comic and I can't get it anywhere.
So Logan's had his mind fucked so many times. His healing factor and the fact that his mind is screwed up so much, like, he's normal. Like, everybody else is in this reality, but he's still him.
Well,
And
I do want to say real quick, like,
I'm normal.
but no, with his healing factor, like, he's had his mind wiped a bunch of times, and he's, like I was saying before, he remembers things that aren't real and he forgets things that are real. But also with his healing factor, sometimes his own brain makes him forget things that are bad for him mentally, and that's part of his healing factor. Okay, I'm done.
And that's absolutely, that's human. That's us. Like a lot of times, like, we go through trauma in life, and our brains will forget it to keep us healthy. Like, to keep us healthy.
Until you remember
later
it
on,
one day at a random point.
you will remember it
I'm
at a
talking
time
real
that
life
you're
now.
My crushing anxiety wakes me up in the middle of the night and be like, oh.
Well, I think the biggest thing, and I know this
Tim
is off
Allen?
comic
What the
books.
fuck was that? Oh, sorry.
Hey, I'll be Wilson for a second.
There you go.
I think maybe like in our life, like, at the time periods when we have the greatest anxiety is the time period when we need to deal with it. When we have the balls to deal with it. And when we don't have our greatest anxieties is when we don't. We're not capable of doing that. And obviously, we're talking about Wolverine and his healing factor. So his healing factor is kind of picking and choosing those times for him. But because of Scarlet Witch, he comes out of the house. I mean, he's one of the people that brings everybody out of the House of M storyline. Go read the comics. I'm not talking about it.
If you can find it, because my comic book shop said they couldn't even order it.
Well, you can go to my little Hick store, bookstore that has graphic novels, and they actually have it. And I do.
Do
have
they?
It right here.
What?
Yeah. I will pay you for that shit.
Yeah, hold up.
I thought about actually hitting up JR on Hop Heroes because he has the Action City Comics access and seeing they had it. Because, it's not just WandaVision, it's Wolverine, and there's a whole bunch of... I want to read all of it.
I'll run over there this weekend. I'll grab it, and I'll throw a beer in and whatnot.
I was hoping to get the trade back, because I did see on Gmart they have some of them, but, when you buy, like, the teeny tiny ones, and if they're in super demand, they up the price. They hurricane that shit.
So Logan comes out of House of M, and his memories are back. He remembers everything.
Guess who's back?
And
Logan's
holy shit, does
I
shit go to town. And man, it starts off great. So like I remember so at the beginning of it, Wolverine's like, he's in Madripoor, and he calls
Wait, so do you want to explain Madripoor real quick for people who don't know?
So Madripoor's a big deal. Madripoor's a big deal for
in
Logan
multiple comics.
and a lot of different people. Daredevil is huge in Madripoor. Sabretooth, Iron Fist, Punisher. Any dark character has been the Madripoor. Even Ghost Rider.
Fictional island that exists for Marvel.
Yes. And everything that goes down that's bad happens there. And a lot of good stuff happens there too, like
there's
party wise.
Yeah.
So he's Madripoor because he's got to find an answer. Well, he's not finding answers. He's going to track down some jokers, and he calls Emma Frost, and Emma Frost is like, "What is it?" And he's like, "Hey, like, send me my costume. Why do you need your costume? Because I'm about to like tear some shit up." And she's like, "All right, whatever." But this is not going to solve what happened because she knows. She reads everybody's mind. She's like Jean Grey without like. Emma Frost is like not as strong telepathically as Jean Grey, but almost there. But at the same time, like she doesn't give a shit about anything, so she'll just read your mind and she'll just fuck with you.
Right. Whereas Jean Grey cares more and is more dramatic.
Yeah, and so, but Logan has a huge respect for Emma Frost. Like he really like has respect for her, so he consults with her a lot of times when he's dealing with like hard shit. And so, and he knows that she'll be real with him because she's read his mind and she knows where he's been since he came out of the house. And she actually, when he came out, she read his mind. And she was like, "Oh shit." And so anyway, but he gets that and he goes on this, he's going first person he goes to see is a Silver Samurai. Well, he whoops his ass and gets information. Next person he goes to see is Bucky. So why is he going to see Bucky? Well, Bucky killed his
baby mama.
Yeah. So he goes to see Bucky, killed his baby mama, supposedly killed his son. We know Romulus pulled him out of the womb and took him and raised him. But
see, again, Romulus, he's behind all of it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just great, man. The Daniel Way run, and I have it right here. I mean, it's right here. Wolverine Origins. Pick it up. It is really great. So it clicks back at showing Logan like as a CIA operative, and he's like brainwashing Frank. This guy's Nomad or a weapon. I can't remember. He was in the Jessica Jones series, the guy taking the pills.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
He was dating what's her face?
Hellcat. Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, Wolverine actually made him into that. Like he turned him into that.
See, again, that is so much like, MCU, what you've seen that in Jessica Jones, and like how much so many people who read the comic books have been starving for these interactions and these crossovers.
So what I'm leading up into is like, so you're seeing this and he's reminiscing about this and he's like knowing that he's going to have another like encounter with Frank or whatever. And he's going to be, and Logan being the person that he is. And I don't know, we've reiterated this in the series about how he's a good guy, but he's also like a really bad person. Like he's both sides of the coin. He's
straight up.
I mean, he's the light and the dark. Yeah. But this leads to Captain America. And Captain America is hanging out at Shield base. And some Shield Joker runs up to him and he's like, "Yo, Captain America." Captain America's like, "Yes. What is it? I'm Captain America." He's like, "Captain America, Wolverine remembers everything." Fuck. We have to find Wolverine right now. Where's Wolverine? Where's he at? Oh God, where is he? And so it ends up being Wolverine versus Captain America, and Nomad's there, Frank is there, and they're fighting or whatever. Wolverine's got the Murmasa blade at this time,
which is a blade made out of like the bad parts of his soul or some shit. We said we were gonna say that, but yeah.
Yeah, so Murmasa blade. So Wolverine, when Itsu was murdered, this was before his mind was wiped. He went into he consulted I don't know if it was Ogun or whoever it was, but they said, Murmasa, this guy, he lives up in these mountains in Japan somewhere. He's like this old Japan dude. He forges weapons out of your like greatest hatred. And Wolverine was like, all right. So Wolverine went up there and he forged his sword. And Murmasa was like, okay, it won't be done for like centuries. So, or like for a lot of years. So, like, go do your thing and come back and see me. If you remember me or whatever, like, I'll be here because I just hang out in mountains and make blades for people and shit. I hang out with demons. And like, so Wolverine comes back and gets a Murmasa blade.
It was Dean Winchester.
So the Murmasa blade can actually stop a healing factor. And
Oh, I did not know that.
yeah. And so he's got the Murmasa blade because when he's finding out information or whatever after he deals with Silver Samurai, breaks into the White House, and they send it. And when he's doing it, the person that is in the White House works for Weapon X, and so they send a Shiva after him. So a Shiva is a robot, like a Sentinel, made by Weapon X to track down Weapon X people.
Sentinels are those big robots in Days of Future Past and the future, those huge things that kind of look like they're from Tony Stark or the Destroyer from Thor. Those are Sentinels.
Yes. So
I'm only saying that because I
Shiva.
know a lot of people don't read, or I'm just assuming
Gotcha.
everybody only
Yeah.
knows what I know.
Yeah. So Shiva is kind of like a sentinel for Weapon X. So they send them after people who have been in the Weapon X program and they've gone rogue. So the Shiva shows up to stop Wolverine. Wolverine's like, okay, this thing knows about my adamantium. I can't deal with it. He pulls out that Murmasa blade and slices the son of a bitch in half, like, but no problem. So that's how powerful the Murmasa blade is. So it's got all of Wolverine's hatred for the loss of his wife and son and everything else that has ever happened to him up to that point fused
Right.
into a blade. It's like a mystical blade. But anyway, he's got this blade. Captain America shows up. Cyclops shows up, and White
Damn it,
Queen
he's such a clock block.
and Emma Frost, and Wolverine is like hand to hand combating Captain America, which is amazing because Wolverine won't pop his claws against Captain America. He has so much respect for him.
He's
So
so sweet.
they're like kung fuing, like as
I
Captain
love
America
him.
could do some damn kung fu. And
I love the respect he has for certain characters.
so they stop or whatever, and Frank or whatever wants to fight Logan, and they all come to a mutual respect. It's kind of drawn out, but he gives him Ramasa blade to Cyclops, which ends up being a bad decision. But
But
it
yeah,
was really cool to see Logan fight Captain America.
Nice.
So,
and what if somebody wanted to read these? What exact comic books are these that they would need to find? Nope, he's chugging his
Wolverine
beer.
Origins, Daniel Way. You can
And
go
those
to
are in
your
trade backs too, right?
You can buy them trade backs. The best thing to do is get the graphic novels, because I have them right here. I have
Very
the
nice.
issues too in my boxes over there. But yeah,
I need to read
this
those.
will tell you backstory of Weapon X, Omega Red, Maverick, Captain America,
Maverick,
and what he
he's
had
in
to do with
Origins.
Wolverine, and then it turns around to this guy, which is Dakin.
His son.
It ends with Dakin,
Very nice.
and which
All right,
is a
now that's
huge
definitely
thing
on my
in
to-do list then.
So
Yeah. But I mean, I could go on for another few hours about Old Man Logan because that's honestly one of my favorites. I just love seeing him age because when he ages, he becomes more human. But we'll leave it at this because we have gone so far into Wolverine, and we don't want to bore our viewers, even though I'm sure they want more from us because who the hell wouldn't? But I want to leave with one question, which I cannot answer. So I'm going to ask you two. If the MCU is going to replace Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine, who should they replace Hugh Jackman with? And I would love to hear any viewers who are listening. If you're watching on YouTube, comment on YouTube. If you're watching on the podcast, let us know on Twitter at HopsGeeks or on Instagram at HopsGeekNews, because I honestly, personally cannot think of a single person who can replace Hugh Jackman. And I would love to have that aha moment. Okay, I'm okay with that. But I got nothing. So that's why I'm going to defer to you two.
The most like common one is obviously Tom Hardy, because people think Tom Hardy can just replace anybody and everyone.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
From Venom?
Yeah, everyone just thinks Tom Hardy can take place. I don't honestly know who could play Wolverine. I don't know.
Exactly.
I
Nobody
have
knows
no idea
because only
because
Hugh
I don't
Jackman
know
can.
who.
They better start cloning him now. Oh wait, they did in Logan.
Yeah, I honestly don't know who they could
There's
possibly be. I have no idea.
So do you think Laura will show up instead of Wolverine in MCU?
no,
This was supposed. This is supposed to be a quick
no.
question.
I. Oh yeah, it's quick. Like I could put him. I can put him in the MCU really fast. Um,
Oh, I definitely want him in
so
the MCU. I could come up with a million ways to introduce him, but who would play him if not Hugh Jackman, though?
I think Charlie Hunnam would be pretty badass.
Oh,
Who's
That's
that?
me personally.
He's the Chris Hemsworth knockoff.
Liam Hemsworth?
No, he's the guy from Vikings.
Yeah,
No, he was
he's
in.
the fan casting for.
He
all
was
of
in
your Oliver
Pacific.
Queen.
Damn it, I haven't seen any of these things. I'll have to
You
look
haven't
them
seen
up.
Pacific Rim?
Ooh.
Oh my god.
He would probably do
I
a
haven't,
better Oliver
and Tim
Queen.
actually highly recommended Pacific Rim. I just haven't gotten around to it.
You're
It's
disgusting.
on my to-do list
Please
after I
leave.
finish
Go home.
Supernatural for the 17th time.
Go home. Just go home.
Ooh, maybe Jensen Ackles could play
No,
Wolverine.
absolutely not. Yeah, honestly.
No, Jensen
No.
Ackles needs to play Angel.
I don't like Angel though.
Oh, I thought he said anal. and I was
No,
like,
I'm
what?
telling you, he will kill that role.
No. I mean, he would have done a great job at Captain America, but I just can't wait to see him as Soldier Boy. I think he'll be perfect there.
So the consensus is we have no fucking clue who could take over as Wolverine.
Bring back Hugh Jackman.
So let us know
we-
who you think
Yeah.
could take over Wolverine. We
Our
would
6'2"
Scott
Hugh
Eastwood.
Jackman plays our 5'3". You know, Wolverine's only 5'3".
Let us know.
Hugh Jackman's
Uh,
6'2".
DM us, email us, mash@hopsnews.beer. However you want to get it to us, let us know and we'll shout you out and we'll go from there. So Micah, again, thank you. This has been an amazing run. We can talk for episodes on episodes of Wolverine.
We will have an Old Man Logan episode. in the
We're
future.
gonna have in the future an Old Man Logan episode. We'll dive into some more X-Men lore. X-Men.
And I will send Mash Old Man Logan comics before we do that.
Yeah, haven't read Old Man Logan yet. I'm not well versed in Wolverine. You can judge by the fact that I haven't talked as much, and I'm usually full of talkativeness, if you will. So, thanks for joining us once again. This is Hops Geek News. Subscribe, like, share, get your stickers,
Smash that button.
get whatever you want, and we'll catch you next time. So, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been a Hops News production. You can find Hops News on all your favorite podcasts and social media platforms at Hops News. Cheers.